repression has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Police repression has got to go.
About 3 months ago, the police killed my cousin, and they shot him. They shot him 40 times. They said he was armed, but he wasn't armed. They actually hit him 20 times in the body while he was running away, and they shot him in the back. 16 bullets hit him in the back, and they hit him like 4 or 5 more times in the body after he rolled over when they killed him. So, I mean, he lived the lifestyle kind of, you know, a little hard, but I mean, doesn't give the police rights to shoot at him, you know, because he had a remote control in his hand, and they thought it was a gun when it was remote control to a TV. So that's why they shot him. But I believe in different cities, different states, different towns. And this department here is the most racist department I've ever experienced. They only target people of color. They target people of non-color, but they target people of color the hardest. And like I said, my family served in the military. My brother was in Iraq and Afghanistan. My cousin was in Iraq and Afghanistan. And I've got two nephews. They're going to ship out to Iraq and Afghanistan. They're not fighting, so these guys can be racist.
Yeah, I was going to say I was arrested for an unpaid traffic ticket after I was taking care of my disabled sister. And the officer grabbed my breast several times in a manner that wasn't good. And then I was put into a filthy room with other women, and I was forced to watch a man masturbate. And this is in America, and I never knew this was actually going to happen, you know, because I lived in America. You know, they came up to the window and they said who they wanted to fuck and which ones of us they would fuck and who they wouldn't. And there was an African-American woman in there, and they were calling her a crackhead. And so I think I would like to thank them for doing that to me, because I had an illusion of police before that's been shattered. So I think that was, I mean, even though it was a horrific experience, I thank them for it. And I just don't want anybody else to think that America is something that it's not. And we need to work for the America that we want it to be, I guess.
Police broke the arm of Jonna Dice. That was done by Sergeant Kristen Lamas. Killed on the 4th. She's an older woman. You may have seen her at the protest day. She parked her vehicle nearby. Police, of course, shot down Happy John Dine in 1997 here, even though every non-police witness claimed that he wasn't a threat. They claimed he had a gun in his hand, a replica gun. He, according to every other witness, including conservative people, he did not.
Back in 2004, as part of a splinter march and an anti-war protest in San Francisco, and this is the first time I'd ever seen like police brutality, and they ended up breaking my arm that day. Like, it was really fucked up, to say the least. Like, whenever I think about it, it makes it really hard for me to raise my voice. And you know, obviously, a lot of people don't quite understand the severity of the impact of police brutality. And you know, really thank you guys for organizing this and being here for us.
I was walking down the main street in the city that I lived in, and it was late at night, and I'm a female-bodied person, and I got approached by an unmarked car that had what turned out to be police officers in it, and they solicited me for prostitution, and I ignored them and I kept walking. And when I kept walking, they put their lights on, pulled the car in front of me, pulled their guns on me, and said, "We're pulling you over, why didn't you stop?" And so I wound up being able to be let go because I was just walking. But I just say that to say that the police serve as a way to control the way that we move through space. And so that's why I'm really inspired by the Occupy Everywhere, Everything movement, because we're saying, no, this is our space and we're going to do something with it. So depending on who you are and what the expectations are of you because of things like race, gender, sexuality, things like this, they have certain expectations of the things that you can do and can't do in particular spaces. And so I'm really inspired by the Occupy movement in the sense that we can redefine that.
I would just like to say that building community and doing the things that we're doing now, this is what keeps us safe. They don't keep us safe, and time again, they prove that they don't keep us safe. But we keep each other a lot safer, and I feel a lot safer in the company of all of you than I would in the company of police. It's important that we build networks with each other and learn how to protect each other and support each other and take care of each other so that we don't need to use, so that we stop using them altogether. There is a fledgling project in town called the Blue Light Project. It's the idea that houses around town would put a blue light up on their porch, and it would signify their house as a temporary safe space.
Kill the cop inside of you. Kill the desire to want to be a policeman and to control the behavior of your fellows. Be tolerant of people. Be open-minded to behavior that you don't like. And ask yourself before you intervene in that behavior whether or not it is truly disruptive to the camp or whether it's because you just don't like it. We need to begin to get rid of police. We need to get rid of the cop inside of us. If we do that ourselves, if we adopt that within ourselves, we can get rid of these pigs, man. We can get rid of them.
An officer from the NYPD rode his scooter into a crowd of Occupy Wall Street demonstrators and ran over a man's leg. And the man was a legal observer from the National Lawyers Guild. He lay on the ground with his legs underneath the bike while the cops put the bike into park and arrested him for assault. Right now, across the country and the world, people are standing up against the corporate rule that has dominated our politics and our lives for far too long. Police have gone in, baton swinging, beating us out of parks and out of the streets. The police have always tried to force us into silence. So the question then is, why aren't the police, who are themselves workers among the 99%, on our side, right? It's precisely the role that police play in this very system that makes their involvement in this movement impossible. While individual cops may express their solidarity with the Occupy movement, when it comes down to it, they're getting paid to protect and serve the rich and the ruling elite, the top 1%, right? That's right. If the cops give orders to evict occupiers or to quell street demonstrations, they'll do it at any cost or they'll lose their job. If it takes blood on the streets, broken bones like we saw in Wall Street, to protect the status quo and the corporate interests that back it, the police will always use force without a second thought, without a moment's hesitation. That's what they've always done. So far, occupation here in Santa Cruz hasn't experienced the type of repression that other occupations have survived. Exactly. Yeah. It's not because our cops here are nicer than theirs, or because the cops here love and care about us, or because they want to see this movement grow. The police here have the same history of abusing and criminalizing activists, the homeless, people of color, all these disenfranchised groups as police do everywhere. It happens here in Santa Cruz. We heard that a little bit earlier. Our occupation is scarcely 2 weeks old. It's still growing, and it hasn't yet run up against the limits of what the state considers acceptable. But make no mistake, as the moment we begin to get a little bit more louder, to cause more of a scene, to stand up against the demands that they make of us on a daily basis, the police response will come. If we start today with an understanding that police are not friends to this movement, we will be able to stand stronger and firmer against the repression that we... That's right. Yeah. It's clear to me that those of us who are standing right here today feel compelled to act, to march, and to occupy.
Yeah.
If you believe that our actions are justified, then it is necessary to accept that the police are not our allies. They're not allies with those in New York that they've brutalized, and they're not allies with the occupations that they've run off in Phoenix, Denver, San Francisco, and many other cities across this country. As long as a police officer remains the protector of the 1%, they will never be allies to the rest of us who take a stand against this unjust system.